Hello everybody, and welcome back to deMars Live 2021, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am absolutely delighted to be back doing this. It's been about 3 months, probably. October, Halloween night was the last deMars Live I believe we did. So it's been quite a long time, quite a long journey. And just really delighted to be here. So I see Kevin's already in the chat. So Kevin, thanks so much for joining me back in 2020, guys, or 2021 even. Yeah. So do throw a message into the chat there, guys, if you pop in, and do say hello. Our question for today is, what has been the most iconic artist or iconic independent song of 2020 for you? So do post it into the chat. It'd be really great to hear your feedback on what has music been for you in that crazy year that we had, that was 2020. Yeah. So Melvin, we got Melvin in the chat. Melvin, what's the story? We got Orion, what's the story, dude? Dave Duggan, Ash, and Colin Foy. Gentlemen, absolute pleasure having you in the chat there with me. Yeah, we've got a great show. We have got a fantastic show today for you guys. We have got the wonderful Ash Orphan that's going to be joining us first. Our first guest today, who's an international self-taught musician. He plays guitar, bass guitar and vocals, and he just has an amazing voice and plays the guitar so fantastically, so uniquely. So we're going to have a bit of a chat with him, and we're going to have a live performance from him as well. So do stay tuned for that. It's going to be fantastic. We had a little sound check there earlier on today, and it was just brilliant. And we've also got the Makings. So Makings, of course, they played the New Year's Eve Transmission TV launch party, which some of you tuned in for. We didn't get a chance to chat with them, so this is why they're back with us tonight, to have a little bit of a catch up and a chit chat, because of course that night was absolutely crazy. If you guys tuned in, you saw what happened there. So we're gonna have a chit chat as well. We got loads of music as well, and just want to thank you all as well for the patience. Last week we were meant to go ahead, we had a snag, we had our first snag on our first show back, which go figure, but absolutely delighted to be back tonight. So thank you for coming back and tuning in today, guys. So let's just have a quick look at the comment section. We got Paul Downey as well in the house. We got Gioli, what's the story? We got Keith McMahuna, who is a moderator. There we go, Keith. Yeah, you mod that chat for me, brother. Mod the shit out of that chat, and enjoy, guys. So what else do we have on today's show? So we also have 4 pieces of music I'm going to share, which is new pieces of music. So we've got ELGA Fox, Nathan Mack, BREW, and Cell Games, which is a new project by Maximillion Foy, our very own, of course, from deMars Entertainment. And he's also going to be hosting a show today, brand new show called The Max Factor. Yes, and today he's going to be talking about the 5 Irish movies, his top 5 Irish movies you can watch right now. So looking forward to... well, I'm not going to lie to you. I did see it because it's pre-recorded, but it's fantastic. So stay tuned for that. It's brilliant. And then I'm going to be joined by the fantastic Rebecca Cappuccini, and we're going to do the top 20 from 2020. Yeah, we're going to do we're going to pick 10 each. So adds up to 20. Very difficult to choose 10 songs from last year. I did my top 20 there just before Christmas, and that was hard. To bring it down to 10 songs was ridiculous. So guys, by the way, do throw a like on the stream, do throw a sub if it's your first time watching. Welcome. Hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the show. And the question for today, just to remind you, is what has been the most iconic independent artist / song of 2020 for you? And it'd be great to hear your feedback, guys. And I'm going to try my best to peek in on the chat as often as I can. It is hard to stay focused when I'm chatting to people, but if you do have a question as well for any of our artists, you're more than welcome to throw them into the chat. So our first artist that I'm going to play today is going to be none other than the fantastic ELGA Fox. I had a chat with ELGA for a Phoenix FM show only a couple of weeks ago. So we had our chat, we had our interview. I'm going to bring her back onto the show. She's a close friend of mine. I've known her for many years from gigging around Dublin. She's a fantastic singer, fantastic songwriter, very deep and emotive, genuine music. Absolutely love it. She released 2 songs last year. Black Dog being one of the songs, and her most recent City Lights, which she has done a home video for. So Elga's super talented. She does acting, and she does a lot of comedic skits and stuff like that around Dublin. So check her out, Elga Fox, and I'm gonna throw up her video for City Lights. Enjoy.
High above the city lines, you hold your hand in mine. High above the stars shine bright and show what's on your mind. Let's sit here and let this moment pass. I know the love I feel for you. Love I feel for you is real. Throw our fears into the night. Stars are holding space. Darkness falls as morning breaks. We survived this tidal wave. This was a dark night of our soul, and we got out through and through. We can see this through, it's real. Yeah, this love I feel for you. Oh, still, yeah, 'cause we can see this through. It's real, yeah, this love I feel for you. Oh, still, we can see this through. High above the city lights, you hold your hand in mine. Bright skies and new moon guides, reminding us of darker times. This was the dark night of our soul, and we got out through and through. We can see this through, it's real. Yeah, this love I feel for you. Oh, still, yeah, 'cause we can see this through. It's real, yeah, this love I feel for you. Oh, still, we
ELGA Fox, guys. That was ELGA Fox with City Lights. What a fantastic tune. Yeah, that's my music playing in the background. Just had to check. Yeah, so it's a really cool video there that she made herself, and it's always nice to see Dublin. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen Dublin in a long time. I haven't been to the city in a long time, so it's really nice to see a bit of that nightlife. Unfortunately, empty, but still looks absolutely beautiful, I have to say. Great song choices in there, guys. Absolutely, yeah, great. Some of them are on the list as well from the show that we were going to have with Rebecca. So, but I'm not going to tell you any more about that. You just have to stay tuned to figure that one out. So I'm going to fly ahead to our next new piece of music, and it is by the wonderful Nathan Mack, which Colin Foy has mentioned there. And Colin, what was your favourite Nathan Mack song from 2020? The Boy Who Learned to Fly. Great, absolutely great track. And so this is his most recent released, and it's called Domestic Wars. So Domestic Wars by Nathan Mack. Just a little bit about him. He is an ex-circus performer, extremely passionate about music and performance overall. I've had many amazing conversations with Nathan about creativity and creating music videos, and just an absolute creative genius, I have to say. I've known him for many years from studying in BIM, and he's always got fantastic ideas. So this song in particular is a first for him. He is actually performing alongside his sister under the name Emily Hazel, and this is the first song that he has done with her, and this song is produced by Brian Dwyer, again, who has produced some of his earlier work. Domestic Wars by Nathan Mack.
Severed senses, crumbling debris, a chocolate covered knife, still sweet to me. Your eyes in my head, they look around the room. Is this your point of view? And all the cracks are coming back to give me what I never really asked for. And a wall of masks now looking at this scene of thrashing statements from our domestic wars. 'Cause you opened up my eyes, yeah, you taught me to realize, and you left this mess behind. Now I refuse to clean up after you. I refuse to clean up after you. I suck my gut in and spit it out at you. Use those words again, I dare you. I'm wasted on this food. Your savory skin's in my teeth. I wanna taste your temper, so set the table for your salty gestures. And still the cracks are coming back to give me what I never really asked for. And a wall of masks now looking at this scene of thrashing statements from our domestic wars. 'Cause you opened up my eyes, yeah, you taught me to realize, and you left this mess behind. Now I refuse to clean up after you. I refuse to clean up after all the paint and plastering, only masking what is happening. The only thing beneath this veneer is breaking. Our love is damaging. Oh, you and I keep happening. We are hooked umbrellas in the wind. We are hooked umbrellas in the wind. And all the cracks are coming back to give me what I never really asked for. And a wall of masks now looking at this scene of thrashing statements from our domestic coming back to give me what I never really asked for. And a wall of masks now looking at this scene of thrashing statements from our domestic wars. 'Cause you opened up my eyes, yeah, you taught me to to realize. And you left this mess behind. I refuse to clean up after you. I refuse to clean up after you. I refuse to clean up after you.
And that was Nathan Mack and his sister, what's her name again? Emily Hazel, and that was their song Domestic Wars. Absolutely fantastic. Keto, yeah, agree with you, absolutely. Production value for Nathan Mack is brilliant, absolutely amazing. But even his later stuff from last year, fantastic as well, I have to say. Better Off Without You being his first song released the last year, absolutely brilliant. So do check out Nathan Mack on Spotify. I can't recommend it anymore. Guys, just quickly, how is the sound for yous out there? It's hard to tell, it's been a while, so let me know how the what you call it, the balance is between everything, between the Spotify music, my voice, and everything else in between. So let me know, give me a shout if it's all good. And while I'm looking into the chat, just want to give a big shout to Lindsay for popping in. Lindsay, good to see you. And yeah, you can always watch the video back over again. I always keep the videos up, so you're more than welcome to watch later on. So thanks for popping in and saying hello. We've got Brew in the house, and we've got Claire as well. What's the story? Claire, Happy New Year, Brew. There you go, Brew. And lo and behold, Brew is next with his most recent release, Chasing Likes. He didn't tell me he was releasing this. Nobody knew. Nobody knew he was releasing a song this year. And I believe it was released exactly at midnight. So depending where you were in the world, time-wise, it was released at midnight in your country. So really, really cool way to release a song, Brew. So fair play to you. Brilliant track. It was co-written by with him and Carl O'Rourke. And just a little bit of an insight to Brew, guys, if you don't know Brew at this stage, which I'm sure many of you guys know Brew. He's an iconic member of the Dublin music scene. We all love Brew, and we all know Brew very well. He launched his solo career only recently, which was February of last year, with his debut single, New Direction, which is absolutely fantastic. I had the pleasure and honour to perform with Brew in Grand Social downstairs, which was also my very last gig in a venue. So there you go. Brew, that might have been your very last gig as well, come to think of it. And we brought back two bands that haven't played also in a long time, Jackrabbit Slims and Tickets Thieves. So you guys might be aware of some of those bands. And I had the privilege of playing in two of them, and of course being in Brew's project. So that was absolutely an amazing honour. And it's the last gig we played, Brew, which is just absolutely crazy. How fitting my last gig was with yourself and with my old band as well. So what else, Brew? You released Legacy not too long ago, which was a remaster of all of his previous tracks. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them, which were fantastic as well. Brew loves the likes, guys, as you know, but he's apparently the shy one, as he says. So let him take us to his dark side of his magical journey with his song Chasing Likes.
The duck-faced birds, how the hell's twerking still a thing? Maybe I'm too old, I don't care, I don't know. Stop swiping right and have a drink. 'Cause I've spent every day chasing nights, chasing highs. You spent every day chasing lights, chasing lights, chasing lights. 'Cause I've spent every day chasing nights, chasing highs. You spent every day chasing. 'Cause I've spent every day chasing nights, chasing highs. You spent every day chasing lights, chasing lights, chasing lights. Did you even catch me walking by?
And that was BREW with Chasing Likes, co-written with Carl O'Rourke. What an absolute banger, BREW. Fair play to you. What can I say? Brilliant track, extremely catchy. Well done, well done. I wish you the very best and a very, very much amount of likes for that tune, man. Well deserved. And you're getting a lot of love in the comments there as well, BREW. So, might get you on the show sometime soon. It'd be great to have you back. So guys, welcome for everybody and anybody that has tuned in thus far. This is the intro. We're going to play one more tune and then we're going to bring on the fantastic Ash Orphan. We're going to have a chit chat and he's going to perform for us as well. So do hang around for that one. Do subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already, and do slap a like on the video. It does help us out. It helps the video get a little bit more attention, so every little helps. I'm chasing a bit of likes here as well, guys, you know, so much appreciated. So I'm going to introduce our next final piece of music on our playlist today before we have our first guest. So I don't even know how to introduce this man because he is just absolutely amazing. Maximillion Foy, guys, he's in the chat, also known as Colin Foy, is an absolutely just marvelous person, amazing creative, who has created a new project called Cell Games with his co-musician Tristan Carroll, and it's an absolutely brilliant project. It's delving into more heavier side of things, more heavy kind of metal style, and it's just one side of Maximillion Foy that you see. I have seen so many different sides of him, and they're all absolutely brilliant. We are in a Beastie Boys project together, and I know Paul Downey is in that chat as well, and we're in a project together with him, and we have done many things together. Crystal Skull Sessions, he has done some absolutely fantastic live performances. He is also a part of 2 podcasts that are just doing really well right now. And he's just constantly creating. He is a writer for deMars magazine, an amazing writer for deMars magazine as well. So I'm sure a lot of you know already, and I have had the privilege and honor to have a song written by him. So yeah, he's just such an amazing creative, and this is his new project, Cell Games, and his first release, Lament Configuration, and he's also done a brilliant music video. Of course he did. Of course he's done an amazing video. So here it is, guys. Enjoy.
Destroy or be destroyed. There's no better way. Let us be the destroyer.
depression, sin and moral recession. Let the title of anonymous put mouth to this depression. To sanctify his masochism, a prison, a puzzle, limit configuration. I'm longing for the slaughter, I'm willing to slaughter and quarter. Destroyer be destroyed, and no matter what, let us be the destroyer. Destroyer be destroyed, and no matter what, let us be the destroyer. Destroyer be destroyed, and no matter what, let us be the destroyer. Destroyer be destroyed, and no matter what, let us be the destroyer. Then no matter where, let us be the destroyer. Destroyer be destroyed. Then no matter where, let us be the destroyer. Destroyer be destroyed. Then no matter where, let us be the destroyer. Destroyer be destroyed. Then no matter where, let us be the destroyer.
And that was Cell Games with their debut release, Lament Configuration. And just seeing the comment there, Keto, I don't think you just can't expect anything from Maximillion. I mean, he can come out with absolutely anything, and there you go. Something so fantastic. So fair play to you, Maximillion Foy, calling in the chat there. Well done on a brilliant release. Okay, guys, that was our first bit of the show. That was our music playlist. We had 4 fantastic independent artists with their most recent releases. And now I'd like to introduce our very first guest. Yes, Ash Orphan is a international self-taught musician. He plays guitar, bass, and he sings absolutely fantastically. He plays a very unique guitar style. For you guys that don't know, you are going to get a bit of a treat for that today. He's going to perform for us live today. He has played in several different bands, traveling between Los Angeles and Paris before stepping out as a singer-songwriter. He started playing guitar at the age of 15 and developed his sound through composing with Huxley Met Soda, a music collective that brought him his trip-hop, post-rock and ambient influences, as well as his self-thought mindset. He had an amazing album release called The Man Who Fell From the Moon, which has gigged in many places across the world. So please do give a warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the fantastic Ash Orphan. Let's see if I can just get this zoom up. Don't forget to throw us a like on the stream, guys. And if you hadn't subscribed yet, do slap the subscribe button. We are going to be here every Saturday from 6 p.m. Well, how are you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry, I had a bit of a setup to do between my computer and here.
That's okay. I know you have to stand up to configure stuff on the laptop and then sit back down and then put the headphones on, isn't it?
Yeah, just to have everything going.
Well, fair play to you, and I really appreciate you joining me this week. I know last week we had a bit of a rescheduling issue, and I know you have a lovely setup at home, so I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing you use it. But do you want to let us know a little bit about yourself, just for the people that mightn't be familiar with yourself, Ash? Give yourself a short little introduction.
Well, I've heard your introduction. It's really cool because like you were talking about Huxley Met Soda, for example, which is like my really first band, and it's like friends that basically I don't see anymore because we're pretty much everywhere in the world now. But these guys are just my like musical family. That's where I've learned everything, and it's I love to hear the name of the band still going, you know, and so yeah. Well, a bit of an introduction. My name is Orphan. I've been doing music for a while now, especially guitar. I started with the guitar, and after that, I was doing a bit of a choir thing when I was a kid, and stopped for 10 years because you know my voice changed. Break. That's what you said in English, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated my voice basically. So yeah, no singing for 10 years. And
oh wow, 10 years no singing.
Yeah, but, you know, like when you're a teenager and not sure about yourself, and you hear comments here and there, and you know, you take that for yourself and say like, all right, I have a shitty voice, or all right, I would never be a singer or anything like that. So
when did you start?
You take in and brew that inside when you grew up. So, but
when did you restart again then?
Sorry, come again?
Sorry, when did you restart again? Did you start singing again then at 20, was it?
No, it was a bit before. A friend of mine, Tara, we're basically playing in a band, Tara Who. That's her band, and that's the reason why I was in America too. She heard me basically start singing, and she heard me like singing, like doodling on a song, or I don't remember which one, but she was like, you sound great, you should sing. And that's how we started jamming together. Well, not starting, but basically that's where we kind of put up a band together, as me as guitar player, vocal, and her as drummer. This band is still active, even though it's a little bit in a hiatus. You would say?
Hiatus, yeah.
Hiatus. So, but it's still here, and that's where I pushed myself as a singer, and that's pretty much where everything started, because I forced myself to practice singing in front of an audience. So I started doing open mics.
Brilliant.
Back in Paris. And yeah, that's pretty much where I am now, is basically thanks to Tara and that whole process, pretty much.
Amazing. Yeah, it's such a shame. I mean, you know, to hold yourself back from doing something because of you know, receiving feedback from people that's not necessarily right. You know, feedback, you know, and we program ourselves to believe something, especially with the voice, right? Because that's a huge form of expression.
It's probably the most personal things that you own, because it's inside of you. There's nothing that can make it change or something. After that, we are all different also. Like while growing up, we all like take things for ourselves and build confidence where it's, you know, depending on what we're experienced, depending on the environment and everything. And to be fair, like, it was just like jokes and things like that. When your voice breaks, you know, like you're kind of talking a bit like that. So you're not really confident, but at the same time, it's something natural that most of the male would go through too. So shouldn't have like too much of a big deal, but I guess at the time for me it was like really important. So like ingested that one or two comments and just like made it a big deal.
Yeah, well, it's good you had a good person to kind of work with and sort of come out of that and start a project. And tell us a little bit about your guitar style, because it's very unique. I've only heard a handful of guitarists personally that sort of use that sort of style, and even within that sort of style, you have already a unique. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of that, how you're playing the guitar and where you sort of got inspired to play it like that?
Well, it's I still have kind of a hard time defining what type of guitar playing I'm doing with my own music, but it comes from basically what we call finger style. fingerstyle is everything that is basically connected to playing your guitar with your right hand. So like if you're right-handed, obviously, but like all the picking things. So all the you take kind of away all the strumming part at first. So everything that is a little bit like intricate or those kind of things. And after experimenting, people are started to play on the neck also at the same time with the right hand and do like kind of weird things, starting doing percussions on the guitar at the same time. And it's basically I don't remember whose artist said that, but I really like it. It's basically a box, like a guitar is basically a box, and you can drum on it because it's empty and it makes sound just by itself. So why not using it at the same time as playing chords, because it's here anyway. So yeah, it's basically that kind of guitar playing. And probably the really first artist I think I saw doing kind of fingerstyle that I remember as a guitar player would be John Butler. In like he has a song called Ocean, and he's doing basically like crazy stuff on the guitar. It's like really fast, really up tempo, kind of Celtic type of melodies and everything. And that blew my mind, and I was like, oh, I need to learn that. And yeah, when I started learning the song, after a few weeks or a few months, I was like, all right, it's too hard for me. And throughout the years I came back to that song. But yeah, John Butler was the first one, and after that you have a lot of people playing that kind of style at the moment, and even before. But like the main famous names would be Andy Mackey, for example, Antoine Dufour. You have John Gum. You have like at the moment there is like a young Russian guy called Mixo or Misko, I don't remember. And he's doing like same thing, like incredible piece of music. The only thing about fingerstyle music, it's most of the time it's only instrumental. So basically you would see people saying like, oh yeah, look, playing a Michael Jackson Beat It on the guitar, or playing a Enter Sandman on an acoustic guitar. We probably have all seen at least one of those videos, like when that went viral pretty much. But so yeah, those are mainly fingerstyle and instrumental. Yeah, that's where I'm like, I don't really know, because I'm using those things, but I come from like band music. So I like to have a lot of things going on. That's why I'm using loops. I listen to a lot of metal, prog, metal, rock, like heavy stuff. So yeah, I always have a hard time defining what is the music I'm playing. Yeah, but it's basically a mashup of everything that I like or kind of heard in my. I don't know.
It's great. Well, no, you know what? That is almost a trick question, isn't it? Because it is very difficult to self-define, because I mean it takes a lot of years obviously to sort of find one's own sound, and even then it changes, even subtly. And perhaps it's not even important, sometimes it's kind of like it doesn't even matter, right? It's just it's an expression as it is. What I'll say is it sounds very difficult to learn, for sure, as you mentioned, but also it can be a little bit convenient in a way. You don't have to deal with loads of musicians around you, and you can just depend on yourself, whether it's busking, because I've heard that style busking, and some of the videos you mentioned that went viral would have been people on the streets playing with their loop pedals, or even without, and sometimes they have a stomp box, and they've got bells and shakers and things like that to add that extra sound. But it's really nice how you're combining, because you touched on this a little bit, vocals and powerful vocals on top of that, and obviously that's I've taken that from your debut album, your album, which was released, I believe, was it 2018.
Yeah, at the end of 2018. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that album and sort of your journey recording that album and sort of how that went about.
So the album is called "The Man Who Fell from the Moon," and that was actually quite a journey to record and to see where, like, what I did with it now with, you know, time passing. But basically, I was learning Ben Howard's song and doing open mics, practicing the vocals in front of an audience and everything. And I was, you know, doodling around like I always do. But I was not satisfied because it's like everything that I was trying or experimenting sounded too much Ben Howard, like. And when I compose, I like to not to sound like someone else, because I think they would do a better job than I do, at least composing wise. Like doing covers, I don't mind, but composing wise, I like to find my own thing on everything that I learn. So I was not satisfied, and I don't know, like, all of a sudden I was like hit by a thing, and I was like, all right, I write an album. Well, it was not an album at first, it was an EP. I was like, all right, I'm gonna write a piece of things with like 7 songs in it, and that's gonna be the main theme is gonna be a guy that fell from the moon, and we're gonna follow basically what's gonna happen to him. So the whole EP or album that became an album after that is basically a story that I tell. And so I had my titles, like I basically wrote down titles, and I was like, all right, what's the, you know, pretty much as you would write a story, like a proper book or like scenario or something like that. And I lay down those titles, and I was like, all right, that's going to be that, and this is going to happen, like this is going to happen in this song, and after that we're going to go to this song and this song. But the music was not made at all. And I forced myself to say, all right, you have 7 days, 1 day per song. And I didn't finish in time. I did it in 10 days instead.
Wow.
But
that's still very good.
Yeah, I was, you know, like when you don't have limits, you can put yourself like small challenges or things like that, either to spice things up, or just, you know, because it's meaningful at that point in your life. And for some reason I was like, yeah, I need to do that in 7 days. I don't know why.
It's a great task to set yourself with. I love the idea of giving yourself a deadline, because it's so easy to not you know, get things done when there's no deadline. Did you record it at home, or did you record it in a different studio?
Oh yeah, so everything was recorded at home back in Paris, and that was basically supposed to be an EP. So if you hear everything, well, the mixing the mixing engineer that went through everything after that did a great job to just like clean all the tracks and everything. But you could hear like here and there like some kids or klaxon and you know, because the streets was busy, or you know, those kind of things. So it was not supposed to be like a full album with like physical copies and everything, but it was just me wanted to release something out. So I was planning to make it put it on Bandcamp, and that's all. But the process was basically recorded everything at home. So I laid out all the music, and then recorded the vocals on top. And yeah, that's ended up on something I kind of enjoyed. I added like one last song at the end after a few months of playing those songs live at open mics to try them out and be like really scared. And people started enjoying it. So I was like, you know what? maybe something like, maybe I can do something more than just like putting this out on internet. And that's where I decided to go with my own name and do my own things and release that. And after like, it was in 2017, I did a Kickstarter to make it like a real album with a physical, so CDs and vinyls and everything. So yeah, that was a big journey that I was not suspecting to be that massive when I started recording in my living room.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, the process, and obviously the process can be different for depending on your where you are in your life, or what particular song or inspiration you get at the time. So it's very interesting to hear your process behind that, and it's great as well to hear that you are able to it's just great that there's open mics and stuff like that, isn't there, that you can just go out there, test the songs. And I can only imagine how you are live. It would be so nice to hear that. I've heard guitarists play before in front of me, with that similar style, not the same, but it's just wonderful. And seeing one musician create so many sounds, and to also create so much power on stage, without a drummer, because guys, we all know the drummer. Yeah, I'm a drummer, so no, I'm only messing. But like, no, it's just amazing, isn't it?
I love the drums. To be fair, I love the drums, and Tara, that friend, is a drummer, and that's how we started meeting and playing music. And she has a powerful drumming, and that's what I try to reproduce with my percussion thing. Is like I try to have. I love those drumming, like tribal type thing, like really organic. Goes from your feet and goes up there. It's, I don't know, I love that feeling. So
yeah,
drummers are important, and even if I do
guys.
without a drummer, I still want to have with those songs and everything. I want to have also like being able to play them with a band, and to have it even like bigger and wider and even like more crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the sky's the limit. You can always keep adding things, and it's always great that you can keep it stripped back, and that's where it all begins, I guess, isn't it? And then you can always add in things as you go along. So Ash, what do you think? Would you like to do a performance for us? You're welcome to play 2 songs if you'd like. It's totally up to you. We have a little bit of time. What are you feeling?
Well, I'll definitely.
Are you ready? I don't want to put you on the spot now.
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm already. Everything is. It's just me trying to warm up the fingers, but I'm all good to go. Like I told you, I want to showcase. That's my like really new song. So it's not on the album. It's nowhere actually at the moment, because I composed that during COVID, during the lockdown I'm in. So I really want to showcase that song. It's a prog song, I would say. So it's really long. So if we have 8-10 minutes, we're good for a song. If we have more time, I can play 2 songs, no problem.
Okay. It depends how long is your second song.
Usually 5-6 minute.
Okay.
So.
Okay, we'll have to see. I think unfortunately we only have the 10 minutes. Unless you have a 2-minute song somewhere in your pocket.
I have a small tune that I wrote for when I came here. So it's my take on an Irish song, but we'll see if we have time for that after. I don't remember how long this one is.
Awesome, brother. I've given you the stage. Take it away. Take it away in your own time, Ash.
All right. So this song is called "The Sound of One Hand Clapping," and I found that because it's a Japanese word, that is called like I'm gonna butcher it in Japanese. Sekishu no onjo. So I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But I found that really interesting. As you know, like when you picture it as a musician, especially with lockdown and virtual live gigs and everything, it gives a full other meaning at the same time, even though it was not intended. But yeah, let's see. Do I have if I have everything? A little bit of reverb on the vocals too. All right. Well, if you're ready, where are you gonna go? Luca, tell me what you see. You're the only one who can reach out to me. The cold is this place, and my heart shivers when my hands will fail. My soul flickers. Lie down, tell me what you feel when you see the word that escape from me to find. when my fit will fail, my soul flickers. sound of one hand clapping.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. Fair play to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing a new song with us, Ash. Absolutely wonderful. And it's just so unfortunate. 30 minutes, I knew it, is just never enough. And I knew we wouldn't have enough time. I have not even asked a third of the questions I wanted to ask you. And we have not listened to enough music from you that we all really want to hear. Is there anything... well, first, thank you so much for taking the time for coming onto the show, Ash. And thank you so much for rescheduling with me. It's a pleasure getting to know you, chatting to you, and listening to your wonderful music. Is there anything you'd like to close off with to tell our listeners, our viewers even?
Well, thanks first. Thank you so much. It's I was really excited to be here and to meet you and the team and to see a little bit more of what you're doing, because I discovered you through deMars magazine and Maximillion actually that wrote paper on my album that was super nice. So I was really excited to meet all of you guys. So thanks again so much for that. And as a last words, I would say this song is not yet released. I need to record it properly. So I'll have to wait for a kind of lockdown, because I wanted to record that in a nice studio at the same time. So we'll see. But you still have the first album that is out, Spotify, Bandcamp, and everything. All the links are on my site and on my Instagram thing and everywhere. So that would actually means a lot to have some support just by streamings or those kind of things. What you were saying at the beginning is like some likes and share, or just like subscribe to channel. It doesn't take a lot of effort, and if you enjoy what you've seen, it help tremendously the artists to kind of work towards, like, work against all the algorithms and everything that we have to deal with during like on the social medias and everything. So remember that, not just for me but for all the artists that you really enjoy. And yeah, thank you again so much. I don't know what to say, like millions of things to say and millions of things to forget to say too. So thank you again so much. I really appreciate being here, and to all the viewers, enjoy the rest of the show. I know there is going to be some awesome things coming up too, so
absolutely
take good care and stay safe.
Awesome, Ash. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And by the way, guys, a link to Ash's Facebook is in the description of the video, so we got you covered on that one there, Ash, so people can click on that one. And of course all of the other links will guide you from the Facebook page, so do check it out. Ash, take care. We will be in touch once again, my friend. I'm sure of that.
I hope so.
So take it easy until then, okay, brother?
I had great fun. Thanks again so much.
Okay, guys, our first guest, Ash Orphan. What an absolutely unbelievable musician. I know we did not get enough of his live performance. I could have definitely used with another 20 minutes, 30 minutes of him performing. But thank you so much for all of you guys for tuning in so far, thus far. We have a fantastic segment coming up. We've got our top 20 from 2020's independent artists, so do stay tuned. We got Rebecca Cappuccini joining me very shortly, and we've also got the Makings that are going to join us for a chit chat, which will be our second and last guest of the day. And of course we have the Max Factor with the wonderful Maximillion Foy that's going to tell you what the top 5 artists are for the day. So do stay tuned in, guys, and don't forget to give a nice like for our video, and do subscribe. We're doing this once a week. We're bringing on fantastic independent artists every Saturday night at 6 p.m. So please do give us a sub if you do feel so inclined, and do give us a like, because it does help the video push up, and it helps all of the people involved in this particular video in the long run. So and of course there are links to everything else in our description if you're interested to go any further, and links to our artists. So before I kick into our next segment, I'm just going to give you a message from our sponsors. Richard from Richard's Rumpus Rooms. Are you tired of sitting at home in your boring old room? Well, boring no more. We here at Richard's Rumpus Rooms are here to turn your room into a rumpus room. No more boring books and cushions and couches and rugs. More drum kits and pool tables and stuff that's fun. Call today for a unique discount. Wow. Here's some testimonials from some happy customers.
I'm very happy with my recent Rumpus Room from Richard's Rumpus Room.
I couldn't be happier with Richard and his premium Rumpus Rooms. They are the best.
What the fuck's a rumpus, Leon?
And that was our sponsors. Pinata Sweet Nella have supplied some fantastic pinatas for us in 2020 with our very own transmission pinata, which we get to break at our festival, and most recently our pinata that looked like a disco ball for our New Year's celebration. So do check it out. It's pinatas for all occasions, and it's just such an amazing thing to have a pinata company sponsor deMars Entertainment, because why not? So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. So without further ado, we're going to try our best to do our 2020 in 20 minutes. Do you think that's possible? Rebecca Cappuccini is joining me now. Rebecca, what do you think? Do you think we can do it?
I think we have a history of making the impossible possible. So yes, I do believe we can do it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so before I start, I just need to put you into the room somehow. Let's see if I can do that. So tell us, before I just get you into the room with me here, do you want to give me a little bit of an overview, a little bit of a sort of, what's your whole 2020 musical experience in, like, I know it's going to be really difficult to sort of put that into a nutshell, but give me a little bit in a minute if you can.
Well, 2020 was really interesting because it allowed me to discover many things, not just about music, but about myself. And it made me push myself. And obviously it did the same for many artists. So the gems that we have in my top 10 and your top 10 combined. And we also looked at the other people in the magazine area and deMars, the global thing that we have going there. And we tried to pick songs that kind of encompassed everyone's experience of the year. So that was really hard to do. Like, I almost lost hair, but it was really exciting at the same time. And I'm just so happy to be able to talk to everyone about these artists that we picked in our final top 20 between ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. So I got you in the room there, Rebecca. So go on. Do you want to start off and tell us about your first pick? I know it was really hard to pick 10 each, and we had it down to 20 each, which was already hard. And I asked a lot of the deMars crew to bring in their 20 as well, and it was really difficult. But tell us a little bit about the first one you chose, Bomba, The Moon.
Okay, well, this song changed my life. So I don't say that lightly. I heard Bamba the Moon and it changed my complete understanding of what a band was. I reached out to them. I got to know them better. We had my interview. We had them featured in the magazine. I think they're incredible. They actually released a brand new song yesterday. I think everyone should go and find it because it's inspirational on the same level as Bamba the Moon is. And I love that about them. They're ever changing, ever evolving, ever growing. They're probably my top pick for 2020.
Absolutely amazing. So my next pick is Closed Door Policy by Monkey, which would be the first song that I've heard by Monkey, which was my introduction to them. And what a song to be introduced by. Such a grooving song. So absolutely funky. Definitely my vibe. I totally wasn't expecting this release. And it was so perfect timing as well to be released during the lockdown, which was actually written quite before the lockdown. Really cool video. Loving the vibes. Loving the vocals. Really, really cool track. So Rebecca, your one is Fee, Distraction.
Yeah, so Fee is an incredible artist. I absolutely admire everything she does. I got to write one of my first reviews that I was actually completely satisfied with when I was learning how to write reviews, and it was actually hers. It gave me the opportunity to delve into a genre that I wouldn't normally try and write about, which was really interesting. And from that, a really nice friendship has grown, and she's just such a positive force. She's just an incredible performer and person, and that's part of why she's in my list.
Absolutely love it, and I totally agree with having her up there as well. well. My next pick is State Lights. Don't Play Games with My Heart. An absolutely amazing tune that is totally close to my heart. I've known the band for about 2 years now, since seeing them in the Olympia, and wow, what a fantastic live band. Shabzi on vocals gives me chills, and I just absolutely love this genre as well. It's very close to home with that 80s pop vibe. So Don't Make Plays on My Heart, with a really cool homemade video as well during the lockdown. I can't get enough of this track. Definitely check out State Lights and Don't Play Games on My Heart. Next up for you, Rebecca, is Gemma Dunleavy with Up the Flats.
Yeah, well, look, she featured in several of our playlists, actually, so I assume I am not the only one. She is one of the biggest lights that came out of last year. She kind of just came out of nowhere. She sings about homegrown topics that are very close to her house and where she comes from, and I think that's amazing, empowering, and it's just it sticks in your head. Like, it's a real earworm, but it also sets you up for your day if you wanted to. It's perfect.
Love it. Okay, we're on to number 6. We're not even halfway there, but hey, we're doing really well, I have to say. We're actually going so fast here as well. It's amazing. So this next one is Superman by Paj, and I believe you wrote a review on this one, Rebecca, and an astounding review at that. What a fantastic tune, with many collaborations as well. And Paj does have a tendency to work with so many different artists, and he has such an amazing eclectic sound in his mix when it comes to his beats. His voice is so soft and sweet, and his lyrics are so profound. Absolutely love this. Very groovy, minimalistic guitar, but funky at heart, and it's got this amazing groove to it. Really love this track, Superman. It's going to make you feel good, and a really nice homemade video to accompany that as well, which you can't go wrong with. I love how 2020 is like the king of homemade videos, which just go down so well. You don't need the high production, you just need to be real, which I absolutely love. So next up for you, Rebecca, is Amy Montgomery, Intangible. But before I say that, guys, in the chat, if you want to let me know that the audio is all good for you with regard to Rebecca, my and the audio from the tracks that I'm playing, let me know if everything's clear and legible audibly for you. So just let me know. Rebecca is your name. Amy Montgomery, take it away.
So Amy Montgomery is a Belfast artist. She is someone who's already performed at huge events such as Glastonbury. She's really interesting. This year she really threw herself into her music and allowed us soulful journeys that were incredibly musical and interesting, and she's just been an incredible inspiring force in my journey, so that's why I think everyone should know about her.
Absolutely love it. My next one is the fantastic Wob, who I only uncovered and found in May of 2020 with his debut album release, Nostos. The song I chose was Apollotrosis, which is a mouthful to pronounce, but an absolute amazing earful to listen to. Really love this track. It's so unique. It's definitely not something I have personally heard before, and that's what really draw me to it. The album itself is an amazing album of intricate sounds, drum and bass, and very unique tones, synths and whatnot. So he's also collaborated with a couple of different fantastic singers as well. I highly could not recommend the amazing Wob anymore to anybody, and I'm sure most people already know that. Next up is Carrie Baxter, Love Me Better, the stripped back version. Is that the stripped back version?
Yeah, so she released the first version and then a few months later went back and released an acoustic stripped back version. And she's just an incredible force. Now, obviously, she's from my hometown, so I'm going to have that little bit of extra love for Carrie.
That's okay.
But in order to Carrie to make it big, she had to move to London. So I find that incredibly interesting, and that she's performing so well is something I have utter pride for.
Absolutely love it. My next one is Nathan Mack, Better Off Without You, his first release of 2020, which is an absolute... it gives me absolute chills. It's just so fantastic, so well produced, and everything about it is just fantastic. It was stuck in my head for about 2 months and I just could not get it out, and it still comes back in from now and then. So I think I'm going to get it back in my head. But he's just an absolute genius when it comes to writing music, and in his vocal delivery, and his songwriting is just absolutely brilliant. The collaboration he does with his producer as well, Brian O'Dwyer, is fantastic. They work so well together, and you can see that with all the progression of the songs he did after that. Rebecca, you've got Vernon Jane, Daddy Issues.
Well, Fern and Jane, Daddy Issues. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the best album of 2020 remains Fern and Jane. I wasn't sure that was going to be the case by the end of the year, but as far as I can tell, a band who can pull together that amount of production in 7 days and give us something that sounds that good deserves all of your attention. The fact that they're currently trying to get together the second album that I am so excited to hear. They gave me so much flavor, so much taste. That album is such an incredibly important body of work. When it was released, it was the last gig that I actually went to before lockdown commenced, so it holds an even specialer part in my history. And obviously their performance for us at Transmission, second to none. Every band there that day, but they are just very special to me, so that's why they're there.
Totally agree with you, and what a fantastic album, I have to say. I have it on vinyl. Do you have it on vinyl?
Yes, I do.
Oh, of course you do. My next one is Kinsey, and this was a tough one because there's two fantastic releases by Kinsey. Happiness Isn't a Fixed State and Cold Blue Light, which I had Happiness Isn't a Fixed State first, but you know what it is? It is that fantastic chorus that just keeps making me want to come back to this song. The very relaxed, sort of chill verse that kind of gets me going, and then that chorus that just really kicks in. I have to say, Kinsey is absolutely fantastic. I really, really can't wait to hear more from her. Only 2 songs released so far and gained so much attention already in 2020. So really looking forward to what she's got to offer for 2021. Niamh Regan, how about that coffee?
Well, you see, that is probably Hemet, my second favourite album of 2020. So Niamh Regan came out with this debut album. When I found out the other day, actually her first album she put together with her CD player when she was 15, and her aunt made a joke about it on social media, which I thought was hilarious. But this is her official debut album, and it's beautiful. It's so evocative. There's so much to it. I've seen many live performances with her during this moment in time where she's done live streams. She did one for the Sets recently. It's incredibly beautiful. The Sets Theatre in Kilkenny did a wonderful job on that live stream, for instance. But as well as that, there's something really important to me at the moment. I'm missing coffees with my friends, right? So that song is just so evocative of that want for me to be able to have connection through a coffee.
Love it. I know you are quite a big coffee addict, Rebecca, so I can see why that song really, really resonates with you. And that's absolutely awesome. Hemet, your second top album of 2020. That's a great one to do too, I guess, our top albums as well. My one is Banya. Yes, Stuck Under, which is just an awesome track. A genre that I wouldn't normally be listening to be honest with you, but when I heard this one, it was just such a nice chill vibe. It really got me into a nice relaxed state, especially during the beginning of lockdown, sort of, when things were a little bit more high sort of stress and things like that. So it was really nice to sort of be brought back by this and to be brought into sort of a different world with Aisling Jarvis's as well. Just such a nice clean, crisp vocal as well, and that production as well from her brother is just really, really cool. Listening to them, of course, at Transmission Festival was an absolute delight. The two of them are really, really cool. That project is only about a year and a bit old, so they're still really, really young to the game under this one. Banya, definitely one to check out. 7 Levels. Did you ever really listen to yourself?
But did you, Kozak? Because you see, this is my absolute favourite Waterford band at the moment. It's the one I'm most excited about that's already put out material. There's a few bands that are starting to form at the moment that I haven't had the privilege of being able to witness yet. So that's something I'm looking forward to. These secret projects that they're all having in the hen house are very exciting to me. But right now we have 7 Levels and they are just insanely good. This was their debut launch after reforming from Chimpambi, which is a band that I have obviously worked with for many, many years, and that's why that song is so important to me. But as well, if you were to listen to the core message, it's such an easy chat that you need to have with yourself. Have you ever really listened to yourself? Do you know who you are? It's perfect.
Great question to ask oneself, something that perhaps I have not asked myself in a long time. So really nice to get songs with a bit of a self-reflective message as well. My next one, Saoirse Casey with Rivers, which is just an unbelievable track from her album Lunaria, which is just a fantastic album. What really caught my ear in this particular song is just the variation of instrumentation, and that's sort of, I don't know how to sort of describe it, but I called it in our interview, I was kind of like, it's a bit of a piratey sort of vibe, and it was just really powerful coming from Paddy Casey's daughter, just absolutely astounding. And do you know what? I didn't know she was Paddy Casey's daughter until the day I interviewed her, which is just even better.
And I actually love that interview that you did with her, because she's so shy and humble. And you're right, there is a real nautical element to her music, so I can see that. And I loved what she was about to do, the whole story album she was going to do with her friend about the rabbit. That's something that still excites me. I can't wait for that one.
I just love minds that work like that, so abstract and almost sort of I don't want to say, how do I put it in the right way, but kind of child-like, playful in a positive way, which I absolutely love. It kind of reminds myself of my own inner child. So really love this track, Rivers, Saoirse Casey. Highly recommend you check it out. The Clockworks, Can I Speak to a Manager?
Oh, you know, you're kind of my manager for this one, so I guess we're having that chat. No, like, look, this song is brilliant. It's about that time you're in the airport and Ryanair is after fucking up again, right? It's perfect. It's so powerful. It's so full of the fire that you might not have on a day. I did a funny reel with it the other day. The boys thought it was hilarious, where I actually had to chat to myself as the manager, because effectively that's what I am for my own company. And I was like, how do I motivate? But it's a great song. They're signed to Creation 23 over in London, so they're one of the biggest independent labels that is around for like independent music. But they are originally from Galway, and they are a powerhouse. How they even got into Creation 23 is just one of the most interesting stories ever. They sent him a message, he agreed to meet them, they moved to London, they got a practice room, they got it in the bag.
Absolutely love it. And strangely enough now, and I did message you about this, that the last 3 songs are the ones that I put on, so I've no idea what happened in this whole transference of music. I think, do you feel like you've covered your top 10 from there, Rebecca, or do you feel like there's a song or two missing?
No, I've done all of mine, but I think you might have accidentally stolen some, so I didn't say anything, because I like this, because it made us just think on our feet.
Which ones did I steal?
Well, maybe you put in the other Kinsey song. I don't know, but I definitely put in a Kinsey song. Or perhaps we both put Kinsey songs in there.
I think so. That makes sense. I was actually curious why you didn't put one in, so I might have mistakenly not seen that. So it makes sense for you to have a Kinsey song in there. Absolutely. So I stole your Kinsey one. Okay, what else did I take from you? There must have been one more, right?
But it doesn't really matter, because we've actually effectively covered most of the artists. We've both given our complete and utter reasoning behind having them, and we've done so in a timely fashion that allows you to continue with the show, but also hopefully engaged everyone, because this is our first time trying this together. We've never actually co-hosted. We've interviewed one another, we've had, but this is kind of fun.
Well, we have 3 songs left, so we're not finished yet completely. We have Song for the Radio by Makings, who are going to be joining us right after this. And it was very hard to resist to not put Makings on the list. Come on, guys. I mean, you know how much I love the Makings. Seen them at Transmission Festival and the New Year's party, and I just can't keep rebooking them just so I can listen to them. Such a unique project, and so many fantastic tunes. They've released 16 singles last year, 16 singles with 16 videos to accompany each one. Song for the Radio stood out for me. I think it was just the actual groove and the rhythm of the rapping and the lyrics as well are just really clever. Really fun song, song that I listened to when I was in the gym, and just really cracking. So definitely check out Song for the Radio Makings, and they have so many other great tracks as well. Last 2 tracks, guys. Fix a Dopamine by Kind. I have to throw these guys in. These are literally like my second out of my top 20. They're my number 2 or my number 1. I don't know which one. They're just up there anyway in the top 5. Just an astounding piece of music. Maximillion Foy mentioned that as his favourite from last year. And I believe Lindsay as well supports this track so much. It's just such an intelligently made track. And I don't know, prog rock is just something really close to home for me, especially with these amazing guitar riff sounds, the drums, vocals obviously fantastic, great catchy lyrics as well, but that synth as well at the end when the track just kind of starts to drive at the very end and changes, is just gives me chills every time.
That 80s and 90s vibe is really what you're about at the core of it all.
I guess so.
That all makes sense.
Yeah,
you know?
I guess so. Yeah, and it even delves into like a little bit of 70s as well in the prog sort of vibe. Not too much, but it does have certain elements that I resonate with that sort of make me think, wait a minute, this is very similar to a 70s band that I know, that not many others do know. So, to close off, geez, I think we've made it with 3 minutes to spare, Rebecca, is Amanoko Arrow, which is, I just can't, what can I say? What can I say about this track? I don't know how you feel about it. We never spoke about Amanoko and Arrow together, but this song was just such a kick in my face of emotion and power. From the intro, just as it kicks in, and that lovely guitar and the vocals. I love his vocal style. It's just, maybe it's something that just feels like maybe I could sing or something like that. So I really enjoy that. Lyrics absolutely brilliant, and just overall just a brilliantly produced track. Really love the guys. Their other track, Emerald, as well, is just brilliant, and they just keep releasing hits. So have to say, brilliant track, and that's definitely in my top 5 of 2020. Rebecca, we have gone through our top 20 of 2020. How do you feel about that?
I am actually hyper buzzed. I was a little bit nervous. I was like, okay, this is new for us. Like, not nervous, but you know, the normal level of, as well, this is live. I haven't done a live in a very long time. Really, the last live I did is for you. Everything else has been pre-recorded. So I was a bit like, an audience.
I'm glad I'm giving you the live experience, keeping you on your toes. And it's keeping myself on my toes too. So it's nice to actually, do, like you're saying, it's our first time actually co-hosting something. I honestly, I was even ringing you earlier. I was like, geez, I don't think we'll have any issues, to be honest. We just need to go with it. Obviously, there's always these kind of like overthinking and perfection thing, but geez, it always works out in the end, doesn't it?
It does indeed. And I have to say that every single song that you've chosen there is a song that I also see incredible value to. And any
yours
song,
too. Mm-hmm.
And the playlist the whole entire team had that we delved into, like every single song in there is a song that I also see merit in, and that you do too. And that's why we do what we do, is to shed a light on what's important right now.
Absolutely, Rebecca. Well, this looks like it's going to be a weekly endeavor, and we're going to delve into sort of a bit more information about what will that include. I'm sure we'll make an announcement very shortly about what is next for our duo. So thank you so much for tuning in for this one, guys. And Rebecca, thanks so much for giving us your helping me out with this top 20 of 2020. It's been an absolute pleasure. Next up, guys, is going to be the makings, but before that, it's the Max Factor.
2021 is in full effect, and whether you're locked down or snowed in, one thing's for sure, you're probably hella bored. My name is Maximillion Foy, and I'm here to try and help you out with some of your entertainment needs. This is the Max Factor. So I know a good many of you, like myself, spent hours upon hours scouring through Netflix, desperately searching for something you haven't watched 100 times already. The struggle is real, and while this 21st century channel surfing may pass the time, it's not the most productive thing we could be doing. But you already know that. What you may not know is that Netflix and all of these streaming services that are at our fingertips are full of amazing Irish movies and shows just waiting for you to devour whole. That's why here on the very first episode of the Max Factor, we are running down 5 totally amazing Irish movies that you can watch right now. For most of you, I'm guessing the most available service is Netflix, so we're going to start with that. Number 5 in our countdown is a movie that was released to huge acclaim back in 2019. Nick Rowland's Calm with Horses. Starring Cosmo Jarvis and Barry Keoghan, it's about a destitute former boxer trying to get by with his autistic son in rural Ireland. He works as a brutal enforcer for a feared criminal family, and his loyalty is about to be called into question when they ask him to kill for the first time. It's a beautifully grim morality play with some stunning performances from the main cast, particularly a quietly gripping turn from Jarvis as Douglas Armstrong. Coming in at number 4 is a movie that can be viewed on the wonderful Irish cinema website volta.ie, which runs in conjunction with the Lighthouse Cinema. Kisses is a 2008 Irish drama film directed by Lance Daly. The film is a coming-of-age drama about 2 ragamuffin pre-adolescents. The 2 are next-door neighbours from dysfunctional families and live on the outskirts of Dublin. They decide to run away together one Christmas holiday on a magical journey that takes them into the heart of the city. It's a wonderful film that mixes realism and fantasy together in a way that's poignant and heartwarming. Kelly O'Neill and Shane Curry are absolutely brilliant as the 2 little runaways, so this is one you should definitely check out. Now I know there's been lots of confusion over Amazon in the last week, but one part of your service that hasn't been affected by Brexit is Amazon Prime Video. So for anyone who uses that service, here's a nice little treat for you. And number 3 is an Irish story, This Is My Home. A fantastic documentary about Dublin musicians Dave Mooney and Dave Brown, otherwise known as the Black Donnellys, and their attempt at a Guinness World Record for playing 60 shows across 50 American cities in 40 days. The two lads are a brilliant crack, and it's an amazing documentary full of great music, great tales from the road, and a really inspirational adventure that has to be seen to be believed. Sticking with Amazon Prime, number 2 in our list is a film that solidified Ireland's ever-growing reputation for wonderful animated features, The Enchanting Song of the Sea. It's the second film in Tom Moore's Irish folklore trilogy. Song of the Sea is about a young Irish boy who is amazed to discover that his mute little sister is actually a selkie who can change her form into that of a seal. And the two embark on a wondrous journey to free the fairy folk from the Celtic goddess Macha. It's an amazing, joyous film, wonderfully brought to life by Brendan Gleeson, Fionnuala Flanagan, Lisa Hannigan, and other amazing, amazing voice actors. This is definitely one for all the family that you need to check out right now. And finally, we reached the last entry into our countdown. Now, as an action movie fanatic, I feel like the genre has only ever been touched on in Irish film. So I was absolutely thrilled to have found this full-blooded revenge thriller. Ever wondered what you'd get if you mixed Steven Seagal's Hard to Kill with a rural Irish setting? Well, wonder no more. There's nothing to get my blood up like a good old-fashioned shoot-'em-up, and for that reason my number 1 pick is Chris Baw's Bad Day for the Cut. What can I say about this movie? It's full-blooded action adventure. It's got a little bit of comedy thrown in. It's got mystery. It's got excitement. And anything that's set in rural Ireland is just a little bit poignant for me, because I'm a country boy and I love that kind of jazz. So check it out, Bad Day for the Cut. That gets my number 1 pick on this countdown of the top 5 films that you can watch right now. So that's my top 5. I hope you found it useful and that might pass an hour or two for you. If you have any great Irish film recommendations, sound off in the comments below and tell us what you like. Thanks very much for dropping in on me. My name is Maximillion Foy. As always, my Instagram is @Maximillion_Foy. A couple of plugs I need to get out of the way before we finish. First is for my ongoing podcast with the two wonderful girls, Raga from the Crypt and Sarah Jane Heffernan. The podcast is called Murder Most Irish. It's every Wednesday, available on Spotify or wherever you find your favourite podcasts. We are back after Christmas, and this is going to be an action-packed episode with a very special song at the end from moi. Other than that, I got a new band with the wonderful Tristan Carroll. We're called Cell Games. Our debut single, Lament Configuration, came out yesterday. The video is available on YouTube now. And I think, if we're very, very lucky, my good friend and compadre, Mr. Kozak, might play the video for y'all on this very show. So guys, check it out. We're on Spotify too. Thank you so much for tuning in to the very first episode of The Max Factor. I will be back with another list for you guys next week. Till then, peace out.
Welcome to deMars Live, where you can learn words like geebag and starty pod. Anyway, keep watching and spin them tunes, Kozak.
All right, that was the Max Factor, which we'll be having every single week from now on, I believe. If Maximillion Foy would like to do them, that's absolutely amazing. So do tune in next week for our next picks. What a wonderful top 5 he has chosen there. And yeah, our next guest is the Fantastic Makings. We had them in our top 20 for 2020, Song for the Radio. And I'm joined by Rick Byrne and Barry from the band. And we're just waiting for them to load in their Zoom chats. So in the meantime, guys, I hope you're enjoying the show so far. We're coming to our final guest, and this will be the end of our show afterwards. So do click a like and do subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already. And thanks for tuning in. So we've got Rick in the house. Rick, how's it going, man?
All good. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, man. Geez, I feel like I haven't chatted to you in ages. It was only literally 2 weeks ago we had you in the studio.
And it was all rush, and we didn't get a chance to chat. So it's nice to catch up now.
Now I get a chance to chat to you. Yeah, no, it's crazy. There's only so little time doing live shows and setting up a band, and especially on New Year's Eve, I guess, can be a larger task than I anticipated. But thanks so much for putting on such a cracking show, even under the circumstance of having to just get you in so fast. What did you think of that experience? What was it like for yourself, Rick, while we wait for Barry to pop in?
Oh, it was great. We really enjoyed it. It was, with the year that was in it, it was actually, it was a busy year for us with releases, but it's just nice to do gigs because, as you know yourself, there's so little happening. So we were psyched. It was great opportunity to get us together, to blow off the cobwebs and get a set together. And it's just one of those things you miss because, we're a gigging band and we're usually doing gigs all the time. And last year was just, so few. So we really relished the opportunity. So thanks a million.
Yeah, it's absolutely devastating to see, like, to read your bio and to see what you guys had planned for last year. And I have that experience with so many other projects that, obviously you have planned tours and so many different events across the world, right? You guys were had some gigs planned in Germany as well and other places like that. So are they being rescheduled for 2021 or how's the plan looking for you guys?
Well, basically, everything, all of the promoters and everyone that had us down for the UK, Ireland, Germany gigs, they were basically said, like, we're just going to basically postpone it for a year. So I don't know if that's optimistic, fingers crossed, like it might be, depending on how things go. It's with this vaccine, I don't know. It's like, would we be good to get back gigging by the summertime? We don't know. It's pie in the sky at the moment. They could be moving things from 2021 for another year. It's a tough time, not only for bands, but I feel sorry for the festival organizers because it's like, rocking up and doing a gig's no big deal for us. I mean, we love it, and that's part of what we do. But imagine putting on these festivals and with the current situation, it's so many people involved. And then when it's a non-runner, it sucks for everybody. So, I mean, I just hope things get back to normal soon,
Yeah, me too. And I guess it is very difficult to peg because, obviously, there are things that are going to be happening over the next couple of months to sort of reinvigorate the entertainment and event scene among many other things and businesses that have been affected, but it's still very difficult to know if anything can happen this year. So it is really tough, as an organizer, to sort of put that kind of commitment in and go, but let's book these gigs in. And just when I say that, we have Barry just joined us. Barry, how's it going? Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
There we go. Absolutely lovely. So is it just you two gentlemen with me this evening?
Correct.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'm just going to put you back in the put you in nicely onto the couch here that we have. I'm sure you might have seen it before. This the yellow couch that we have, the casting couch as they like to call it. So Barry, how are you keeping, brother? Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, keeping well, very well. Thank you.
Brilliant. I was just chatting to Rick sort of about his experience from, the New Year's Eve gig. How was that for you? How was that experience for you? I know it's so different doing it in a studio and all that kind of jazz, but how was that experience for you?
I absolutely loved it, and the fact just to be doing something in New Year's Eve, it was amazing, and I feel like we're one of the lucky ones who actually got to do a gig as well,
Yeah.
And I love the fact that we were in the studio and it was all recorded as well, and it was a beautiful setup he's had in there,
Yeah. Yeah, we're really lucky to have Tsunami Studios let us use that. And how was that? You were telling, I guess, for both of you, because I know you are starting to get into the in-ear stuff, and you were mentioning. How was that experience for you? Is it something that you want to pursue? For sort of audio fidelity?
It's kind of is it is the future. It's kind of technology we kind of flirted with before. I mean, sometimes even when I was chatting to the guys in Tsunami, I mean, it's like if you it's a kind of a hurdle that if you get over, you can get overall better sound. But it's like one of those things where it's a big enough hurdle because you can get in-ear technology for it can be relatively inexpensive if you get any sort of in-ears, but obviously you want to get the industry standard, and that stuff can be expensive, and you really need to know what you're doing with it. So it's like something that we were going to look at actually last year, but we did say that we're going to look into it more this year because it's definitely it's a different experience. We're well used to just using on-stage monitors. You can hear the audience, and you're kind of when you're dealing with in-ear monitors, it completely shuts you out from the audience. You literally can't hear the audience, so it's a different experience, but you might get increased production value and therefore better sound overall. So it's one of those, it's a catch-22. Most musicians, and anytime I've used them, I mean, like sometimes it's not as enjoyable an experience using in-ears, but at the same time you get a better sound. So it's worth the sacrifice, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. I guess if you're in front of a large crowd, maybe it's a little bit more difficult. And I do, when I'm watching musicians in like stadiums or larger concerts, sometimes you'll see them sort of taking out one of their in-ears just so they can sort of experience a bit of the energy and the audio, I guess, from what's coming of this wave of people, right? So I totally see that. Not that I've ever been in front of a massive audience, although one day, that's obviously the plan for all of us, is to have such amazing crowds, and I guess technology will be different under those larger events, but I guess it's good to kind of get used to them on sort of smaller occasions as well, because it does take a little bit of time. And guys, so you guys are absolutely unbelievable with regard to your productivity, and we spoke about that in our last interview when I first kind of chatted to you, got to know you a little bit more, and that was back in May, I believe, and we spoke about this kind of well-oiled machine concept that is makings. You guys have released, I think I might have miscounted, but I think I asked you, and I don't think you knew the answer yourselves, which is just amazing. I think it's just fantastic. I was like, how many songs? And I believe I counted 16 releases last year, and maybe it doesn't matter to you, but I think it's absolutely fantastic. I might be wrong with the number, it might be more or less than that, and you seem to be releasing a music video with that. How are you guys finding it now since last I chatted to you? Sort of that productivity, because you didn't seem to have slowed down at all, and you seem like to be going like a freight train through all this whole pandemic. Are you feeling that about yourselves still? Are you just feeling like you are just still plowing ahead as you were back in May?
Yeah, I mean, like the it's funny, someone else mentioned it as well, like something, the amount of tunes. I think because we did say this thing that we would definitely try and do a tune a month anyway. And then it was nice to do more than that. And we did have a backlog of songs ready to rock. So we kind of took it in our stride, in that sense, because the material was there. And it's one of those things, I think we just kind of said to ourselves, we want to, instead of, releasing, an album, that we're going to go down the road of just kind of popping out singles and just seeing how that goes constantly, and try and get a video for each one. And yeah, I think that like we've still, when I look at the unreleased tunes we have, I think this year we'll probably do even more than that. Like, and the COVID thing's not going to slow us down with releasing, because it's not going to stop us going to the studio. Everyone kind of has their own home setup. Shock's always sending me guitar stuff, and Raul's always sending me bass lines, and there's so much you can do with the technology now before you even go into the studio.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things. I think that, I don't know, something clicked in my head about over a year ago, that like I wanted more of a YouTube, Facebook, Instagram presence for makings, because it was like, it was there, but it wasn't up to the standard I wanted it. So the first thing we did was we got that 4K camera, and we got Joe McNulty, shout out to Joe McNulty. He was shooting on his own camera. He was shooting clips of Makings gigs for years. And I remember, I think it was Fantastival. He shot some stuff, you know, just for himself, and it just looked incredible. And I was like, this guy knows what he's doing. So with him on board, it was like it didn't seem like a big job knocking out a video, you know. So it was like we just deliberately decided, if you know, we're going to have the tools there, that will force us to kind of want to use them. And nowadays, you know, releasing a track on Spotify is fine, but it's like people a lot of the times they want to go. I'm not really a big Spotify person myself, and we only recently went on Spotify, so it's like I was always a YouTube kind of person, or you know, if I heard a band, the first place I would go would be YouTube, just to see and hear what they sound like. So that was the whole thing behind that. But it's cool. People did notice it, you know, that we would just the prolific nature of releasing things. And I heard someone in the industry saying that is really important nowadays, more so than ever.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool because it suits us, you know.
And Barry, what do you think?
Yeah, and I'm just reminded that I'm just kind of thinking, reminiscent of a few things in the last couple of years. Like, something that Rick always said as well is that everywhere we go, always have the camera and be grabbing content all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So even I remember whenever we went to our tour through Germany and stuff, you know, in the UK, we had the camera at the airport, just shooting, like, you know.
Yeah.
Vlogging. You know, vlogging, you know, and then all that content you just build it up and you save it up, you know.
Yeah.
And then it'll be going to a folder, and then it comes for editing time, you know. Rick has it all there, you know.
Yeah.
So all the time, just always be shooting, and just building up your stock. And the same with the music as well. But I think if anything, probably during this time is you'd release more music because you don't have to focus on the gigs as much.
True. Yeah.
And rehearsing, so you could just focus on creating new content. You know, everybody has a lot more time to do that. You know.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we lost Rick there for a second, so we'll try to get him back in. But that's okay. Don't worry about that. We can still chat, Barry. Yeah, no, it's interesting because I can see some sort of in some of your videos you're using like these awesome lighting as well. Like the lighting in the videos are fantastic, and I notice you have that sort of those light bulb lights. I don't know what you call them, but they're brilliant looking, and they're almost iconic now to your music videos. I love seeing them now and then.
That's the square ones, isn't it?
Yeah, and sometimes I see them again in another video, and I'm like, oh, that's so good. Like, it's such an investment. So you guys are obviously, you know, putting your money right in the right places for your own content, which is great. So while I try to get Rick back anyway, I wanted to ask you sort of, Barry, because there's so many questions I'd love to ask you, because I'd love to delve into the minds of the artists that bring such awesome music that I really appreciate and love. Is kind of like how do you describe, like, this is a cheeky question that I don't always like asking this question, but it's one I wanted to ask you for a long time. It's kind of like, how do you guys and maybe you don't, but how do you describe your genre and because it's so unique, and where you go with it as well, it goes into so many different places and so many different elements, and the different sounds that you have in your project as well, and with, you know, a combination of rap and singing, and you've got two vocalists on top of rap as well. It's just brilliant. So how do you sort of put that in your head and organize it? Can you, or is there no point doing that?
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? You know, because I suppose whenever you go to kind of when you're trying to create a tune, you know, you're not kind of thinking of a certain style. Well, I'm not anyway. You know, I'm just looking for something that sounds good. You know, and it would be a or I could be on the guitar. You know, but yeah, it's a funny one because anytime I go for you go to enter some, you sign up somewhere, you know, and you're always asked. You've got this drop down box for your genre, you know.
Yeah.
You never know which one to back. We don't even. There's not one of them that actually just suits us, you know. But so I always kind of describe it as electro rock rap, you know, because they have them three elements in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, in every song we actually bounce from genres as well, because the different songs fit into different genres as well, you know.
Sure, yeah, you jump around. And
Yeah.
so Rick, welcome back there. We lost you for a second, but I was just asking Barry about how sort of would you describe the genre. Very typical question, but not for you guys, because you guys do have such an interesting and intricate sort of genre style that can also travel a little bit in certain directions, which I really, really like about that. So can I ask you, just to kind of move into a different sort of realm relating to your sound, who kind of comes up with these fantastic, you know, I don't know if it's arpeggio, but these synth sounds and these fantastic electro sounds that you guys play, because there's a lot of them sort of within the tracks. Who sort of, it feels like they're almost like the groundwork of the whole track. Who sort of creates those kind of parts?
When we got together first, we were basically rocking out like a rock band, and but I basically cut my teeth on electro. When I first got into music, that's all I made was electro. And then basically after jamming with just instruments, guitar, bass, drum setup, basically that started to creep into the sound more, you know. I went back to that, and that would always involve beats, and Mr. Reynolds jumped on that really quickly. So he was basically getting the, it was octapads and the SX pads and basically everything, so he can come up with electro beats. I always had like the synths and basically, that element with what Shock's doing, basically we ended up with this sound. You know, I always really liked it when I heard it. Like I remember one of my early influences, Death in Vegas, just that whole idea of you'd have a track, it might start off with an electronic beat, and then they bring the kit in on top.
Sure.
That kind of thing always kind of, I thought it was just cool. And anytime I seen them live, I just thought, wow, it's just something that you don't see too often, because a lot of times you have electro acts, a lot of times you have rock acts, but sometimes it's hard to get both.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was just that kind of thing. That's kind of a formula that we kind of we stuck with, and it's not because it's just something that we really dig, you know. And when we started to do it, it was kind of, there was no turning back. Even if the track is slower tempo, and it just still, it's one of those things that we feel comfortable with. And I remember then like thinking like, just some of this is going to really suit rap as well. And there's two things I remember saying, like that if we got rap and we got a female vocal in here, there's nothing else. I think that I would be, all my Christmases come at once. And luckily enough, I had produced an EP for Kyron, and I remember making note when he was in the vocal booth, like, this guy is just off the hook. And I mean, he should have been on the first album actually, but he didn't get an email from me in time. And then when we started making tunes after the first album, after Cognition, I was like, he actually got in touch with me, but it was already sent for mixing. So he missed the boat there, and I was like, well, he's not going to miss the next batch of tracks. And then and when he jumped on it, then it was like, wow, this is working better than I even expected. I thought that maybe he might be a guest.
Sure, one off or a couple of songs. Yeah.
And then I remember we were doing a tour of England, we were doing a few gigs there, and it was like, I remember saying, if this guy can be as good live as he is in the studio, then that's it. And then we went to England, and I remember the first gig, the crowd loved him, so that was it. Welcome, Kyron. And then luckily enough, I had worked with Juliana as well, and I was like, we were at the time, it's funny because I didn't see the wood for the trees. I knew Juliana was there, and we were looking for a female vocalist, and it was like just it just, a light bulb went off in my head, like that she's perfect, because I knew she was a great singer. But she also has that kind of thing that, I don't know, it's a thing that any other female vocalist or any other person that auditioned for us. It's like there's something about the edge that she has that just suits the band. You know?
Definitely.
It's hard to explain. It's like we worked with, you know, there's other rappers out there, there's other singers out there, but you just know if it works when it works, and it's almost a kind of an attitude thing. And yeah, I mean, it's just also really good in the studio, really professional and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's now that we have like we've got so much there. Every time we go to the studio, it's like we have the ability to do the rap, we've got the ability to have the female vocal in, we've got all the synths, got all the guitars. It's like literally there's nothing there that you know, we feel like we're spoiled for choice almost.
Yeah, I definitely, like, speaking of Chiron and Juliana, like his rap is just so perfect for your sound. It's so clear as well, and it's just so intelligent and fun. It's just really fun, and he's very fun on stage. Like being right up to him, like doing the filming, I couldn't get the camera off him because he's just so fantastic. He's got that attitude. I know exactly what you mean when you're saying that. And Juliana as well. She has that fantastic female backing vocal that you just need. You need that in makings. It definitely makes sense. But plus that attitude as well. I totally understand. And they're like your two pillars right between you there, Rick. Do you know what I mean? In the front, and then you have this, you know, obviously this brilliant rhythm section. But I have to say, like, yeah, no, it's just so enjoyable to see the complete sort of product, the complete sort of band, and I do 100% see it like that. And even referencing, like, yeah, bringing in the drums a bit later, which you were talking about in the track. For example, Codex has that sort of vibe where you're playing that loop at the beginning, isn't it? And then you kind of kick in that drums, and there is that kind of goosebump moment where the kick sort of kicks in, and so I totally get that vibe. It's brilliant. What's like going over to like sort of the live performance stuff, because I absolutely I'm trying to visualize this now, like at a big festival or something. You mentioned Fantastival there. What's been sort of an iconic performance that you guys remember over the past whatever amount of years? Was it a festival or was it in Ireland or abroad? Is there, asking both of you, I guess. I asked Barry first because Rick was chatting to me there.
A couple of ones spring to mind. The one that actually Rick just mentioned there, the very first time we played in Lechlade with Chiron on stage was a very memorable one, you know, because it was a great vibe, and the tent was like absolutely packed, you know, and it was our first time playing in England as well, you know, so everything was kind of new for us, you know, and Chiron, Julie was only about 6 months away from joining the band at that time, but yeah, that was a really memorable one, you know, I thought. And we played there twice in a row at that festival, and so they want us back next year as well, I think, you know.
Amazing.
And another one that springs to mind is Bloom in the Park. We played Bloom in the Park there. That was probably the biggest stage we ever played in, you know.
How many people would have been at that?
There was a sea of people in front of us, a couple of thousand anyway, you know.
That's amazing.
I think, you know.
Wow.
And it was a kind of a whole different. It was a different audience. It was a family audience as well. So there was lots of kids running up afterwards looking for signatures, you know, and things like that. So it was really fun, you know.
Awesome.
And you know. How about you, Rick? Any stand out? What was your?
We're lucky to have been asked to do Whelan's, you know, a lot. You know, some years, geez, I don't know, we were in Whelan's. It felt like we were there at least once a month. You know, just. But I remember Whelan's one to watch on the main stage. That was a hell of a gig. That was because a completely new audience. I don't know. I think we were on around 9 or 10 o'clock, and just the right time when, you know, and some amazing bands were playing. I mean, like, shout out to all of the bands who were lucky enough to play one to watch. I mean, it's just a pleasure to share the stage with some of these acts. And yeah, I mean, I remember going on, I think it was around 9:30 or so. And yeah, just to see the place happen, and especially with, like, it was a new audience, and that's always you know, it's a bit of a test, because you don't know what way they're going to take it. and yeah, just to get them hopping, I thought that was a highlight for me.
Yeah. That's absolutely awesome.
I always look forward to Boxing Day every year as well. We usually have a mayhem cracker of a concert every Boxing Day.
Really, yeah. In Ireland, is it?
Donegal.
Oh, in Donegal.
Yeah, in Donegal, yeah. And we usually play a place called the Barrow Theatre we put it the last 5 or 6 years. It's actually called the Huckster's Ball, you know.
And who does your booking? Did you guys book your own gigs or?
Yeah, we book our own gigs. I do a lot of the rigging and booking, you know.
You be more on the managerial kind of, like, as in the email sort of side, and Rick is more on production kind of. Is that kind of how the roles work?
Yeah, I mean, it's like everyone. Well, people can reach out. People reach out, like, and they'll get a hold of shot. Like, we're lucky enough to kind of like be asked to do gigs as well, you know. In that sense, I mean, I think that when we did the first, yeah, I mean, Shock's right. Those Ballo gigs are always great. I mean, shout out to Ballo Theatre. Shout out to anyone from Donegal. I mean, it's like, I feel like it's my second home up there, and we just love going up there every St. Stephen's. It really breaks up Christmas. I mean, I was so sad not to have done it last year, but it's yeah, I think once we did that successfully a couple of times, now it's literally taken for granted that we do it every year. And that kind of thing happens when you do, similar to Lechlade, similar to a lot of these places. If you go and you rock out and people enjoy it, they'll ask you back. We really love that element, you know. And yeah, they're a professional bunch up there as well. Nice big stage, and they usually have it really well lit, and it's just, the sound is usually really banging, and it just seems to get bigger and better every year. So happy days.
What's sort of like like, speaking still of like the venues and stuff you play, but like because you've toured obviously a little bit around Europe and stuff, like, do you get like a different reaction? I know you're saying Germany, and it feels like your genre would actually go really well in Germany from my perception. Like, do you guys get a massive response over there? Is that why you guys tour there?
But we wasn't that big. That was the first time we did Germany, was kind of it was great, really great. Berlin, that was another amazing
highlight, I think. Yeah.
We had a couple of technical difficulties, but still, it was just, I mean, I can't wait to get back to Berlin. And I remember doing, remember the Odessa Shock, we did this gig, and there was a guy who was managing a band, and he lived in Germany, and he was like, he that's the first thing he said was like, you guys need to move to Germany. It's like it's got electro, it's got rock, it's got like, and he said something about Rammstein. I think back then we were rocking out a little bit more. I love Rammstein.
Yeah,
I'm also a Marilyn Manson fan. I like that kind of, like, that dirty electro with the guitar sound. It's really always did. And I think we were rocking out that night, and that's what he said. He mentioned Rammstein. He says, you guys are in the wrong country.
And what do you think? Do you think that's a little bit true? And not to say anything against, obviously, Irish fans are probably the best fans in the world. And a lot of musicians would say that. But with regard to, like, on the business side of things, you know, obviously there's a lot of barriers to entry, unfortunately, in Ireland, being a small country. And then Germany, you know, there's a little bit of a different approach.
Ireland is, you see, it's very small, Ireland. So it's like, if you've got, that's the thing, you know, it's like, I just noticed there on first time this month that we've got more listeners now in America and in Germany than we have in Ireland, and that's the first time ever that's happened, you know. I mean, it has to be said, there's 80 million people in Germany, there's 340 million people in America.
Yeah, it's normal. It's normal. You're going to get more if you spread out enough. You're going to get more from those countries.
Yeah, and we're not like really great at self promotion, but and we're more of a kind of a gigging kind of a turn band and stuff like that. But I can't wait to get back to Germany. I mean, it's like there were some people I don't know where we went after Berlin, Frankfurt, or Hamburg, or somewhere. But people had
Kiel,
followed
Kiel,
us.
yeah.
Some people had followed us to the next city, which was really cool. So it's like, it is one of those things that, you know, Ireland is actually full of bands as well, and it's full of good bands. You know, it's kind of like being a rugby player and living in New Zealand. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot
oversaturated, quite saturated.
And it's not as if there's a big demand for the venues, for the Grand Social, for the Workman's, for Whelan's, for people's attention. And it's like, people are spoiled for choice in Ireland. We're one of the lucky ones, I mean, in the sense that, you know, we do get to play those venues and stuff like that, but it can be daunting for people starting, you know.
You usually have to book about 8. You have to usually book at least 8 months ahead. A lot of these places, you know.
Sure.
So you always have to be thinking, really. Right now, I'm thinking of like gigs for 2021, even, you know.
You do. You're right. Yeah.
You don't really have to think 8 months to 12 months ahead, you know, for really all gigs, and applying for festivals and things like that as well.
Oh yeah, festivals. Yeah, quite long in advance.
Sure, you have to be really in it. You have to be in really early, you know.
I mean, you say lucky, Rick. I don't know if I can agree with lucky, because you guys do have a unique sound, you know, and you guys obviously work hard and put the effort in. So there's definitely reasons you get booked, you know, and do stand out from other bands. But I guess as well, it's from your own side, isn't it? Like, how many times can you play the Grand Social? How many times can you play Whelan's really per year viably? You can't play them too much. You could play them maybe twice. 3 at a stretch, really, and then you have to go somewhere else, and even and that's just Dublin, you know what I mean, and then you got to go out there as well. So it's unfortunately we're dealing with a smaller sort of populace. Obviously now with the lockdown it's a different thing, but put that aside, you know what I mean. It's about the future after this, you know. Guys, I want to close off with just one question. First of all, thanks so much for joining me today. It's nice to catch up and just have a little bit of a chit chat. I'm trying now to keep my interviews to 30-minute as opposed to I think it was close to hours. I used to not be able to stop my interviews because I always want to keep chatting. But I'm always sure that I'll get chatting to you sometime soon and get working with you again. So just wanted to say that. But what's just like a little silly cheap question, I suppose I wanted to ask is just kind of, what is your favourite between the two of you? I was hoping maybe more members, but maybe I can get more of the members in another time. What's sort of your favourite song to perform?
That's a tough question.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shooting from the hip question here, but just very curious, because I can name 2 that I really enjoy listening to, but I would love to hear, even if it's more than one.
Yeah, I think it changes, like, you know, because there's not a new material coming up. I thought I would have said Punk Girls, but I there's something about doing a song for the radio recently. It's just a good laugh. I always find it just, I don't know, it makes me chuckle inside when I'm doing it, probably because it's just bouncing over and back between myself and Kyron. That's
fun to watch as well and listen to.
Yeah, so that's one for me.
Cool.
One of my favorites would be I've got a couple of favorites. Well, I have loads of favorites, you know, but I love the I'm getting a blank now for names, you know.
You have a lot of songs to choose from, I guess.
What's the one we ended on the last time?
Fail, or we usually
too big to fail. Yeah. And there's another one we do.
That's kind of more a dancier one, right?
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I like jumping around.
And that's the one from your promo video, I think, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah,
the Mations one, but it zooms in. Yes.
Yeah. That's very dance. That's very different to your other kind of tracks, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, that's probably why I like it, you know.
Yeah.
And then but there's another one that we usually, and the longer shows when we're playing like for an hour or so, we usually end in another one called Human Nature, you know, and that's an absolutely cracker as well to finish the set on, you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Some songs are just like we always have this thing of like some songs are like we literally they're better live than they are. You know, they're better live than they are in the recording.
Sure.
It's like it's almost impossible to capture the likes of Human Nature. It was a real bitch to record that song, and people would watch. I remember being in London, people going, "When are you going to release Human Nature?" Because we were playing that tune for 3 or 4 years, and we didn't we didn't record it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew it was going to be a tricky one to record. How can you capture that 6 minutes of energy in a studio, you know? So that's I agree with Shock. That's always a fun one to end with for the bigger shows.
That's
'cause
one
you
I
can
still have to listen.
drag it out as well, you
Yeah.
know.
So yeah, I think
You could rock it out, and Raul, he goes, he I don't know, he does something where he goes really low on the bass at the end, and Mr. Reynolds starts just going nuts on the kit, and it's just, I mean, it literally kind of drives us all a bit mad on stage.
it drives us mad and the crowd mad, you know.
Brilliant.
You know?
Brilliant. I don't think I've heard that song yet, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. The first song that kind of got me back into you was Worth Living, which I thought was really fun. Just a really good song, and an important message as well tied to that. But it's just a really good song. It's very different to kind of your other stuff as well. But
that's a kind of a COVID song in a way. I wrote that one because of I remember that was a time I wasn't feeling in a good place at that time, and I think a lot of people weren't. It was the first time when you just realize COVID sucks.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that was just remember that came together very quick. It's like literally one of the songs that was done in about a day.
Really?
Tune.
Wow.
Written. I mean, no, it was a bit of tweaking and all that, but the whole, I wrote the whole thing in a day. And I suppose the production on it and all took another few days, but it was just one day it's not there and the next day it's there. You know, it's just and I love when that happens, because some tunes can take a while. I mean, like Shock could love guitar, and I couldn't write that. It took me nearly a year to write that tune, because I just the way his guitar is, and I'm like, I just couldn't get it out, but I knew there was something there, you know. So it's funny how some songs come together real quick and some of them take a while.
And they can be just as powerful for the listener. It doesn't really relate. But also Miracle, your most recent one as well. Great tune. With an awesome video as well to accompany. Codex, I think, for live, and Song for the Radio, I mean, just crackers. And Codex and Song for the Radio are on my gym playlist, and just push me to that next level. I have to say, they're just great tracks, and I know some people in the chat as well would are big fans of Codex as well. I know Keto is as well. So, but so many great tracks to choose from. Like, fair play to you for your work ethic, guys, and for just powerhousing through, and for writing songs as well, genuine. You know what I mean? Like we're saying, we're speaking about Worth Living. You're just expressing yourself exactly how you were feeling there, and it's just great to hear that from you, that you're genuinely writing stuff that's real to you. You know what I mean? It's great that I'm not saying it comes easy to you. From my perspective, it seems like it, but I know it's a lot of hard work to make songs and things like that, and the production and the mixing and bringing it all together, and not all songs come out as quick as others, as you say there, but you make it look so easy, which is just amazing. It always adds a bit of that curiosity, which I absolutely love, and I find just fascinating. I have to say, guys, these are an absolute pleasure to listen to, and even to chat to, and just have to say, it's a pleasure always chatting to you and working with you. I really look forward to doing some more stuff with you. Is there anything you want to close off with? Is there any announcements happening, or you want to hold off on the announcements? We can promote some of your socials at the moment for people, anybody that's watching back over the video as well.
Yeah, just keep an eye out on the on the usual places, Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, because we've got more tracks on the way. That's we're not gonna, if you say we released 16 last year, we mark
32.
We'll top it.
Top it at least. Love it. Challenge accepted. It's on video, Rick. So we have you here now. I'm gonna
no going back now.
No going back, brother. And what about yourself, Barry? Anything you want to close off with?
No, just thanks for having us on, and thanks for having us on, and if people do want to, people who are watching this, our handle is Making's Official, so if everybody goes to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Makings Official is the handle.
Brilliant.
And makingsmusic.com is the website as well. So that's cool. It's worth checking out as well.
Excellent.
And just watch out. For we'll definitely we have a lot on the can, so there'll be more releases coming out.
I love hearing that. Great.
And put more gigs in. We look forward to working with yourself again as well. We really enjoyed the last two outings.
It's a pleasure. Please God, it'll be outside next time.
yeah.
An outdoors gig or out of a studio, but you never know. And yeah, your link is going to be in the. I just see the link is incorrect in the YouTube for you guys watching at home. So I'm going to update that link with the correct Makings handles and your website as well, guys. Obviously, you want to get some people over onto that. So Rick and Barry from Makings, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will chat to you very soon.
Okay, thank you.
See you later. Peace. Bye-bye. All right, guys, that was our last guest for the evening. Makings, we had Rick and Barry. Rick being the lead singer, producer, and synth player, and Barry is on guitar. And I believe he uses a Chaos-Lator or a Chaos pad as well, so he does a lot of stuff as well, and it does assist with songwriting a lot with Rick, and they all just work really well together as a band. There are 3 to 4 members, I believe, in the band, so hopefully we'll get to have the full band in one day for a chit chat. It would be great to chat to the rest of the band as well and hear their perspective. They're just great musicians. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in, by the way. I know we've dropped a little bit, so thanks for all of you for hanging on. If you have anything else you want to say to close off, we did our top 20 for 2020, so thanks so much for throwing in your tracks of suggestions. It was great to interact with you today. Just great to be back, I have to say. Just really, really cool to be back with the deMars team. It's great to be with you guys as well, tuning in, and I'm looking forward to Saturday. Jeez, it couldn't come any sooner. Saturday next week. I used to do the shows 3 times a week, so I'd be back on Tuesday and Thursday and then Saturday, but unfortunately, we'll keep it on Saturdays for a while. I might try a second day now and then. Geez, you never know. I might just wake up on Monday morning and go, feck it, let's just do it Tuesday. But for now, keep in your calendar 6 p.m. on Saturday. If you're new to the stream, do hit the subscribe button. We're doing this every week. Pretty similar format. 2 interviewed musicians, a bit of a playlist, and we have loads of good stuff in between. The Max Factor, which I'm looking forward to having back, and Rebecca Cappuccini is going to join us for a new show, a new collab show with myself. We're going to do a co-host, which you're going to find out very, very soon. I just want to give a big shout out to Ash Orphan and Makings for coming on. Maximillion Foy, of course, for tuning in, or for presenting a show. Rebecca, and all the music that's been submitted as well, all the recent tracks. We had ELGA Fox, Nathan Mack, BREW, and Cell Games. So yeah, that's and Paul threw in a video there, if you hadn't noticed, the one of the drunk pigs, and we'll be hopefully receiving a couple of more skits from those guys as well. So thank you once again, guys. I will see you all next week. I am going to close off the show with a tune. Let's close off with a tune, Ski. Just to close off on a good note. So let me try and figure one out here. And just to let you know as well, because Keito, thanks for reminding me into the chat there. Transmission TV is coming. We are releasing tracks on a weekly basis from our performers from New Year's Eve. So our next ones, you'll have to check out our YouTube channel, Transmission Live, which is in our link tree, actually. So if you go into our description here and go to links to all of our platforms, you will see Transmission TV. Do click in there and subscribe to that. It's going to be a in the studio music performance channel, which it's pretty cool. It's obviously I can't do that from home, so this is kind of the next level. So do tune in for that, and hopefully we'll be able to announce some news about our next Transmission TV as well, New Year's being our launch. So Ash Orphan is in the chat there. It was a pleasure to be here. Thanks again a million, Ash. Absolute pleasure to chat to you, to meet you, and to hear your music. You're an absolute gentleman. I look forward to working with you in the future. Absolutely, really do. So guys, don't forget to follow all of our artists today, all of our fantastic artists, and enjoy Makings Codex.
Truck, oh no.